Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, with your hosts, Josh Earl, Derick Bailey, and John Sonmez, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, Josh Earl here with a quick message from our sponsor, Signal Leaf. Look, doing a podcast is a lot of work. The last thing you need is a podcast hosting service that makes you jump through a bunch of hoops just to get your episodes published. My co-host Derick created Signal Leaf with one goal in mind: to build the easiest podcast hosting service out there. It's the simplest way to get your new podcast up and running quickly and without any hassle. If you're thinking of starting your own podcast, just use Signal Leaf. Then you can get back to polishing the lyrics for your own official podcast rap song.
Google Plus here.
Yeah,
we are live.
It's
alive. It's alive. So hey everyone, we are here again with a guest this time, Charles Max Wood from devchat.tv. He's doing a lot of pretty amazing podcasts, honestly. I've been a fan of your stuff for a number of years now with JavaScript Jabber and Ruby Rogues and Freelancer Show. And what other podcasts do you have going on other than those three?
I have Adventures in Angular, which is for Angular JS programmers, and iFreaks, which is iOS.
Yeah. Nice.
Someone finally did an Angular podcast. I keep on saying it, like, when you do an Angular podcast, there's an opportunity. In fact, when I'm advertising Signal Leaf, that's what I usually say.
Nice.
And now there is one, so that's cool.
Yeah, I got like people to talk about it and stuff.
Very nice.
And then I'm also, I don't know how much we're going to talk about this stuff, but I'm also launching a new video series called Rails Clips, which is for Rails developers, but it's video, not audio.
Nice.
And it's demonstrating Ruby on Rails stuff.
Right, so is that going to be like a free series, subscription model? How's that going to work?
I'm going to use my least favorite word to describe it. It's going to be freemium.
Freemium.
Oh.
Yes, evil word.
Yeah. It's not a word. Anyway, so I'm going to put out 2 episodes a week. They're going to be 5 to 10 minutes long, and they're screencasts.
Right.
And one will be free, and the other will not be free.
So similar to the Railscasts Pro model?
Yes, except I think Ryan was doing free 1 week, paid the next week.
Okay.
That's a good idea. That I think that model makes a lot of sense, because then people get to see what they're getting, and then it's like exciting to buy more, I think, because some things it's it's like you feel like you're being marketed to, and then you're like, well, okay, I'll buy it, but then there's certain things it's like where you're just excited to buy it, and that sounds like that would make that into that category.
I think there are a few other things that come nicely with that if you're thinking about it as a business model. Well, for one, I like helping people. I like putting that stuff out there and kind of giving to people. The flip side is that a lot of people feel like then they kind of want to give back to me, and so some people will pay for it regardless. But so whether or not they watch it every week, I mean. But then
I have similar experiences with Watch Me Code. Actually, there's probably, of the 200 people that signed up for the initial early bird, there's probably about 100 of them left, and a lot of them are just throwing $5 at me every month because they want to support what I'm doing.
Yep. I want to support what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
But mostly it's the other, The other thing is that if you're putting free content out there, then you can do all of the other marketing things. So you can put a mailing list up that people can subscribe to and other things. And so, it gives me an avenue to reach out to people, find out what they want, find out how I can help them, and that can then drive things like product design and stuff like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Are you concerned about keeping up with that pace? That 2 a week pace?
A little bit. I'm probably just going to play with it a little and see how things go, but that's
So my biggest advice on that front, since I'm releasing one a week with Watch Me Code, record as many as you possibly can as early as possible.
Yes.
Like, 10 weeks worth of episodes. Get that much of a buffer in front of you. Because at some point you'll get sick, you'll go on vacation, you'll be at a conference, you'll do something where it'll just completely throw you off for 2 or 3 weeks and you won't be able to record anything. So having that giant buffer out in front of you is an absolute lifesaver. I think I've got until early December recorded and produced right now, which is making me nervous because I've only got a few weeks to record more episodes. But I'm going to be out of town for a conference next week, and I need to get my presentation done before then. And so I'm still nervous about this. I've been talking about this for like a month now about how this is kind of freaking me out being behind, and I'm still behind.
Yeah.
I talked to Avdi Grimm, and he said something to the effect of that he likes to be at least 2 months out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes sense.
Which is pretty close to your 10 weeks, but yeah, totally. And I found that it's easier to just sit down as opposed to, record one every day or whatever.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I batch up my YouTube videos when I produce those suckers, and I usually get if I can get 6 or 7 in a day, that's great.
Right.
So, you're in, you're already set. Plus, there's all that setup time. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I typically record 3 or 4 in a given recording day because I do a lot of just ad hoc. I mean, I kind of plan out what I'm doing and I practice the code once or twice, but when I sit down, I don't have a script. I don't have something formal that I'm going to do. So, a 15-minute episode will be 35 to 40 minutes of raw material just because I make so many mistakes and have to redo it so many times. But I send that off to an editor, and he takes care of cutting it down and making it perfect and making me look good.
So what should
going through those gyrations right now where writer and then figuring out, okay, this is how I want us to do this differently, and
And I'm getting all kinds of broken audio and video here. Anyone else seeing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying, John?
Oh, I was just gonna ask. I was like, should we go around or should? But I think probably maybe we should dissect your business a little bit, since we have the opportunity to learn from you and see how you're doing things and how you're what your business model is, how you're making the moolah.
Yeah, one question. One question I have: Are you still doing consulting? Like, do you have much time for that? Because it seems like you're producing an awful lot of content these days.
Yeah. So for the most part, I got some of the sponsors for the podcast to pay a year in advance.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And so then that gave me the time to actually finish off setting up devchat.tv as opposed to having everything on WordPress, which is what I was doing before. And so now my focus is basically on building devchat.tv into the platform that I need it to be in order to, support everything full time.
Right.
So I'm working with a few other developers. We just finished up some work on the sponsorship section that allows people to sign up on a quarterly basis, and that's the direction I'm going to push people in now.
Nice.
So it'll show them which spots are open. They can sign up. If they sign up for the current quarter, it'll just prorate them for whatever's left in the quarter. If they sign up for the next quarter, it'll give priority to current sponsors. They can renew all that stuff. But I'm hoping with a little bit more solid system, then I can actually go reach out to people and say, hey, look, go here, pick the one you want.
Right.
And do your thing. And then the other piece to that is pulling together all of the numbers so that they can look at it and say, oh, okay, so I can expect to have this many impressions with this many people, and get an idea of what the sponsorship is actually worth, and then they can look at the price and feel good about it and buy it. So that's where I'm going with devchat.tv. And then I'm probably going to take some contracts here and there just because I like to stay abreast of what other people are working on and struggling with.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, I'm looking at that, and then looking at Rails clips to kind of fill in the rest of my income. And
so
and then
how much? What percentage of income is DevChat TV providing at this point, or what do you expect it to provide in the next year? I guess.
I'm hoping that it'll provide 50 to 75% of what I need.
Well, that's a good idea.
And that'd be really nice. It'd be nice if it provided more, but I think it just depends on what audiences I can reach and how much people are willing to pay to get in front of them. And
Right.
I don't know. I don't completely know that for all of the markets that I'm in right now. So
Right.
So I'm working on figuring that out. And I feel like if I have a more systematic approach to it, then I can start playing with some of the factors in there and see where the limits are.
Yeah.
Right.
You're the guy we should be asking. We need a sponsor.
Yes.
What should we? What's our quick way? Which may even include paying you a royalty for a sponsor. What is our best option?
Because seriously, there's half a dozen companies and products that we talk about constantly because we love using them.
Uh-huh.
We have our what we call our anti-sponsor list, which are the companies that we love to trash.
Yeah, we've tossed out the idea of getting protection money from them.
Right. We want them to pay us to stop talking bad about them. But seriously, we've tossed around the idea of getting sponsorships for this podcast a number of times, and none of us have any clue how to go about doing that.
Well, I can tell you that the first sponsorship I got was for Ruby Rogues, and it was New Relic.
Okay.
And it was mostly, I had some connections there, and I talked to a few people, and it just kind of happened.
Okay.
For the rest of them, JavaScript Jabber and Ruby Rogues at this point are popular enough to where I have people come to me and ask.
Right.
Yeah.
For Freelancer Show and iFreaks, I've had some sponsors off and on, and so I'm actually going to be going out once I have this sponsorship thing really hammered out and approaching companies. And when I do that, I'm typically saying, okay, look, I have this many listeners, or I get this many downloads. The download number is pretty, it's pretty easy. It either downloaded it or it didn't. And Derick can talk about the nuances of that, if they got part of the file and come back to get the rest of the file or whatever. But
right.
Anyway, so you take that information. You can also take your web traffic, because it all counts as impressions.
Yep.
They either see the banner on the website or they hear about it on the show, and the more information you can give them, the better decision they can make. And you ultimately want your sponsors to be super happy with the sponsorship. So,
so I had a Watch Me Code sponsorship on JavaScript Jabber earlier this year, and of all the sponsorships that I did back when I was throwing money at it left and right, the JS Jabber was by far the most effective. I still get 3 or 4 new subscribers every month from that sponsorship 6 months ago. But it definitely paid for itself. It was well worth the investment. It's just a question of cash flow at this point.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that you want to be hearing from your sponsors. Was
Right.
It was worth the money I put in for what I got out.
Right.
And once you have one or two that can say that, then it's easier to get the others, because you can actually get a testimonial. You have some social proof, especially if you have, again, some concrete numbers or facts that you can give them. But in a lot of cases, just telling them how many earbuds you have in ears is helpful. And so then they can go, okay, so...
Can we multiply that by 2, because there's 2 earbuds?
Well, technically, it would have to be 1.9 something, because there are some people out there that don't have 2 ears.
And some people walk around with only one earbud in.
That's true.
So, but yeah, and so the thing that I've done typically is that I don't have the number of subscribers.
Right.
So I just say, look, we got this many downloads last month. And then I can also look at the numbers and say we typically get within this range.
Right.
And so then when they go, okay, so how many impressions can I expect to get? I just go with the bottom range and say, I can pretty much guarantee you this many.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you make it really easy for people to click through because that's their ROI, right?
Yep.
Is, the attention, the brand building, and then the people signing up.
Right.
And so I don't know what size your audience is. Honestly, your only audience member that I really care about at this point is me, because I really enjoy the show.
Right.
I want to keep doing it, but the one that I see the impact on the most is me. And so, if you're putting something out there that clearly solves my problem, I'm tempted to sign up. So,
right.
If you can articulate the value to the customer and articulate the value, the return on investment your sponsor's going to get, then you can do it. One other thing that I recommend, though, especially for podcast sponsorships, is that you get people to sign up for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
I find that if they sign up for a month, they're just barely starting to get brand recognition, and people are starting to go, oh, those guys, when the sponsorship ends. But if you do it for a few months, then people really start to, oh, okay, it's Watch Me Code.
Exactly.
They're awesome. They support the show. One of the sponsors for JavaScript Jabber, Widgmo, their CTO, Chris Bannon, goes to conferences and speaks pretty regularly.
Right.
And he's like, every time I go to a conference, I have people come up and thank me for sponsoring JavaScript Jabber.
Nice.
And
Pretty cool.
that's the kind of stuff you want, right? So people know who Widgmo is. People know who Component One is and what they're. And so even if they're not seeing direct signups every day or every week from the show, people know who they are and what they do.
Right. Yeah. With my Watch Me Code sponsorship, that first month that I did, I think I got like 5 subscribers. But then the second month I had 25, and then the third month I had like 50, and it multiplied every month.
Yeah, it's very common. Eventually it'll plateau out.
Right.
But it'll plateau out at the 50, not the 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're constantly picking up new listeners too.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think also we're in a good position because it's EntreProgrammers, so it's developers who have money, who are starting businesses, who are willing to buy stuff that will help them.
Yep.
So it's a pretty good and I don't know. I guess we're at what, maybe is it 4,000 downloads a month or?
Per month we're at 30,000 downloads a month.
Oh wow, great.
Oh no, sorry, that's total.
No. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say we're at 30,000 downloads a month, and we definitely should have sponsors. But
I was gonna say that should be a slam dunk.
Yeah, no, we're at 6.2 thousand downloads last month.
Oh, then that's. I mean, I think what we should do is this: each one of us should pick out one sponsor that we think would be, and just send one email.
Yeah.
And then we split the work, and then we can. So.
That's a good idea.
But I would guess that means that you probably have, if you release every week, between 1,000 and 1,500 regular listeners. And so,
last week we had 2,000.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. All right.
So what's the threshold? Is there don't talk to us until you have X number of listeners, typically?
No. If you're in the ears of the people that I want to reach,
right,
and you're engaging them really well, if you have 50 of the right people and they're going to buy my stuff, then it's worth sponsoring.
Right.
The other thing is if you get really, what's the word I'm looking for? If you get really engaged people involved listening to your show, then they'll go out and evangelize your show too, and so it'll grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you really understand who your market is, and it sounds like you do, then that's another thing that you can go to specific. You can go to specific companies that provide the services that they need, but you then can also talk to them about the right way to approach your market.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes the sponsorships extremely valuable as well.
Right.
Okay.
And you're a trusted voice. They listen to you every week.
Yeah.
So you have that authority, and it's just make sure that you're getting something that you truly believe will help people out.
Yeah, it's interesting on the authority aspect of things because we're doing this not because we think we're experts in anything, but because we have questions and we want to help each other out and we want to get ideas from each other and we're trying to figure out how to do this stuff. And I get a pretty regular influx of comments and questions and whatnot that indicate that other people are listening to us because they trust us, because they believe the things that we're saying and they like what they hear and they get ideas from us and they look to us as somewhat authority figures because we're putting ourselves out here.
You just went off the script, dude. I think we need to resync the script.
Oh, sorry. Dang it. Hold on. I gotta get.
Remember your motivate. You're this entrepreneur, right?
I'm the cynical bastard. Dang it.
Yes. Get it. Okay.
All right. I gotta play my part.
Evil capitalist.
That's right. No, John's the evil capitalist. I'm the.
Yeah, I would be the evil capitalist.
You need a monocle and a
Okay, I want to put you on the spot, though. So based on our numbers and what you know about us, because you're the best person I know to ask this question, so I'm going to put you on the spot and say, what should we ask in general for a sponsor? Like based on, ask us some questions if you need, but it would definitely be, you'd be the guy to know, I think.
So, back to me being a consultant, I'm going to give you the right answer. It depends.
It depends.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And honestly, I think, so the way that I figured some of this out is mostly trial and error. I have to say that every time I raise sponsorship rates, nobody complains. And so what that's telling me is that I don't raise them enough. So you should probably ask for a bit more than you think you could get. The common models that I'm hearing out there are that people are getting somewhere between $25 and $40 per 1,000 CPM. And so,
monthly downloads or weekly?
Monthly, I believe.
Okay.
No,
they're charging monthly.
That's not quite. It's you're supposed to use CPM based on the 6-week life of a podcast episode. So the first 6 weeks of a given episode represents your CPM for that episode.
It seems like a really good report that should be in Signal Leaf.
It's in there.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the episode right now.
Okay.
With the CPM, throw that number in there. Put the range, like have a little slider to say 25 CPM, 40 CPM, and then show what the actual amount would be. That would be awesome because we could use it, and other people would. And this is the question that everyone asks, right? Like all the podcast forums. That's why I was asking Chuck because.
But the thing is that people hear that somebody's getting 40 CPM, and then they go, oh, okay, so I can get 40 CPM, and the answer to that is not really.
Right.
Because it really depends on how much of that authority you have, and how engaged your audience is.
Right.
So some podcasts are only going to be worth 15 CPM.
Yeah.
And some podcasts are going to be worth 50. And it just really depends on, where you hit on that level. So, and see, that's what I'm trying to figure out now, and so that's why I'm getting a little bit more formal about my sponsorships, so that I can find out where that is for my sponsors.
Right.
So then we should be somewhere at like, I don't know, $50 minimum. Possibly their range should be somewhere around, I'd say, $200 to $500, depending on the sponsor.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say around 500.
Yeah, probably that would, because we should have the.
Or for the 3 month or.
Per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
3-month purchase, so $1,500 for 3 months.
It would be nice to not pay for the editing out of pocket.
The first place that this money goes to is to pay for all the editing.
Also, maybe we could actually become a paying citizen of Signal Leaf.
Right.
Which would help Derick's life out a little bit.
EntreProgrammers is my largest.
A leech.
So if you're listening to this podcast, we will give you, since we wouldn't have to do any work, for $450 a month, you can sign a sponsorship deal with us right now. So
yes.
there you go. Just contact us. But yeah, what else? What else could we ask the Master Podcast?
Yeah, so I want to get kind of into more of your business side of things.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of conversations with you in the past, so I know some of the things that you're working on. But I want to ask, what are you willing to share? What are the projects you're doing that are coming up? Because there's some things that you're doing that I really want to get.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the big focus this week and next week are basically getting Rails clips launched, getting the sponsorship stuff together, and then the third thing is I'm putting together a remote conference for JavaScript developers. And so it's going to be in the evening. It's going to be really cheap because I don't have a venue or food or anything to worry about that way. And the idea is that people who are new, who can't afford to go, or people whose bosses won't give them the time off, they can DVR their favorite television shows. They can watch the conference instead. They can get the training and exposure to people who have great ideas. We're going to have chat rooms available so people can ask questions. So you kind of get the live aspect of it too.
Right.
I'm going to allow users groups to actually register instead of just individuals.
Nice.
So if an individual wants to come, great. If a users group wants to find a place where they can host it for the evenings that we're putting it on, then they can do that. And that way people can get together and talk and, we can start some conversations that way.
Right.
And for me, it's also a way of just, recognizing users groups because I think that they're an important part of the community and ecosystem.
Right.
But anyway, so I've got a few speakers lined up. I'm going to open up the call for proposals, get the website together, and then pull it all together. On the other end, I'm going to be using Google Plus and Chatroll to host it. It'll probably be on a WordPress site, and so that's the idea there. So that's this week and next week is getting those three things together.
Nice.
And Rails Clips is basically there. I just need to record a few more videos so that I'm comfortable with my buffer. JS Remote Conf is what I'm calling it, jsremoteconf.com. I have a friend of mine who I've done coaching for who is actually converting the PSD for me into HTML, and then I can get it up on my own, but then I've been able to focus on some of this other stuff, and then I have a subcontractor who's rounding out the sponsorship functionality.
Nice.
So once I have that together, then my focus becomes, do you want to talk about the conference for a minute, or should I move on to the other thing?
I'd be interested to hear a little bit. Yeah, just like, is this really something that's going to make you money? Is it like a platform that will help you position yourself? Like, what's the idea here?
So I'm trying to decide the best place to start. So my thinking is that I would like to find some sponsors, and the sponsors would allow me to do nice things for the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then pay for the infrastructure, which is basically a server or three, however, whatever it takes to keep it all up and running. I think we're going to get some traffic, but the talk is going to be embedded through Google Hangouts, and so that bandwidth will be handled by Google. And the chat is handled by Chatroll, and that's embedded on the page as well, so that's all handled there. So really it's just how many people are coming and making the page load up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need a server or servers that are capable of handling that.
So do you expect that to be a part of your monthly income, or is that just going to be pay for itself and just let that roll?
So I am selling tickets, and the ticket sales I'm planning on just putting in my pocket.
Okay.
But that being said, I'm trying to keep that as low as I feel like I can.
Right.
And still make sure that, it's even value for the people who are showing up.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at doing, I think I'm going to do $50 a ticket for individuals, but they have to sign up before December 14th. Random date I picked, that's my birthday. So I was going to do November 30th, but I didn't get it launched by the beginning of the month, and I wanted at least 30 days. So if they go early bird, it's $50. Afterward, it's $100. After the conference is over, we'll just release them all on YouTube.
Yeah.
But if you want to come and interact and all that stuff,
nice.
then we'll go for it. And then if the model works, then I want to do another conference for basically people who are interested in this podcast, programmers who are entrepreneurs.
Right.
I think that's an interesting intersection of skills, and it's an intersection of skills that I fall into, and I want to talk to other people who are like me. And so it'll follow the same model, basically. And then, and then I'm looking at also doing it for my other audiences, Ruby, Rails, iOS, Angular, whatever. And I think that's enough of basically it's a revenue source that I'm looking at out of the sense of I want to put a bunch in the bank so that I can be comfortable, giving to the community in the way that I do. And then once I'm comfortable, then a lot of it is just giving it away. I'd like to give it away. So, help fund outreach events, help fund causes that I'm interested in. Maybe do an event where all of the proceeds go to building schools in South America or something. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But, I feel like I have to take care of myself and my family first, and then I can start thinking about how I can take care of other people and give to them. So, and I'm deliberately not using the term give back, because I feel like by giving value through the conference or the products or the podcasts or whatever, that I'm giving to people. I don't feel like I owe the world anything, but I like the idea of being able to just give and not feel like I'm that I'm putting myself in a poor position financially myself. So. But so that's the idea. It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 weeks in a row for 2 hours is the conference.
Nice.
So it'll just be in the evening. So, and if you're halfway around the world and that puts it during the workday, then hopefully you can get some time off.
Right.
Because I mean, you can't serve everybody, but I'd like to make it work. So.
Yeah.
So that's the general idea.
Yeah, I think the majority of your audience is going to be U.S. and Western Europe anyways.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that'll work. I think I'll make the Western European stay up a little bit late.
Right.
Or
get up really early.
Yeah.
So you keep mentioning subcontractors and people that are doing work for you. How do you find those people? Because that's something that I am in desperate need of doing, and I've never been comfortable reaching out to people to find that stuff. I've done it a couple times, mostly for marketing stuff, but I know I could do a whole lot more with Signal Leaf and other things that I'm doing if I would actually just take the time to find people to do some of this work. How do you go about doing that? It's something I've never been good at doing.
There are a few things that play into that. I mean, one of them is the podcasts.
Right.
People know who I am and want to associate with me, I guess,
right.
or work with me or learn from me or whatever. And so I can offer them in-kind help. And so they work on my stuff, and I help them work on my stuff, and so they get the value, and I get the value. You might have people in your Watch Me Code audience or something that could actually come in and, be willing to help you out. Either in exchange for your time or in exchange for, some of your services. So,
right.
Watch Me Code or Signal Leaf or whatever, if those fall under what they need. But yeah, I mean, just being open to that and, getting to know people. There's a Rails boot camp here in Salt Lake City, and some of the graduates there haven't been able to find jobs, and so I've been able to give them a little bit of work here and there, and
nice.
They're happy with what I'm giving them monetarily. They're delighted with the time I spend with them as a kind of a coach.
Right.
And it works out nicely because then it doesn't kill me as far as my cash flow to pay him.
Right.
Right.
I've also got a few people in South America and other parts of the world that speak good enough English to where I can sit down and work with them. And one in particular, I pair with him every week.
Nice.
And he's the one that's rounding out the sponsorship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I pay him for the work too, but overall there's this sense of he's really happy with what he's getting out of the thing, and I am getting ways that I can continue to feed the beast and pay the bills. So
nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a surefire way to do it unless you have a way for people to actually find you.
Right.
Like, say, an email list or something.
Yeah, say, only I had 4,000 people on my mailing list. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I mean,
you put it out there. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm willing to give. Somebody will take you up on it.
That's a really good point.
I can't pay you a lot, but I'm happy to mentor you for an hour or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple hours a week, you do some work.
Yeah. And that's worth it too. And that's the other thing is like I was just talking to someone the other day about like how you build consulting time for the coaching and mentoring, which is kind of good billing because someone still gets the value out of it, but it's easier work than sitting there and typing code because it doesn't require as much like a certain kind of focus. Like I could talk to someone and coach someone for a lot more hours in a day sitting down writing code.
Yes. Because
even after I finish writing code, because you can only do so many even writing blog posts and all that, but the talking to someone about something that you're passionate about and know about and you can help them solve their problem is just it's not that it's like a less valuable thing. It's just that the I guess the effort on your part versus the value that you give to someone else is swayed. It's one of the things that you can do for very low effort on your part, but give a huge value to someone else. And so that I think that what you said kind of stuck out to me because that makes a lot of sense. I didn't really think of it that way because if I can tell someone, hey, look, I'm gonna give you kind of free coaching and kind of as an internship almost, and or maybe pay you a very small wage, then they are actually getting a good deal, and it's a good deal for me because it's time that doesn't require as much focus from me. I can fit that time in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as they get better, they can you're almost cloning yourself. They'll be able to do more and more.
You're kind of doing that, Josh, with your email marketing work.
That's exactly what. Yeah, I'm on the other end of it.
Right.
I'm getting paid peanuts right now. But the guy that I'm working with, he charges like $1,000 a month plus for coaching. So I'm getting all his, and so he gives me a little time every a couple hours every few weeks, and we jump on Skype, and then I do all this work for him, and then he just goes in and cleans it up, and probably takes him 15-20 minutes to clean up, to go through all the work I've done for him. So it works out well for everybody.
And I've been on the other end of that, the other extreme, as a consultant before. Prior to joining Derick last year, all the work that I did was pure consulting, not contract work. And whereas now I'm doing mostly contract work for my current client instead of consulting.
Yeah, one other thing I want to point out is that if you serve other people, I get this a lot from the podcast that I do. They feel like I've served them.
Right.
So I get a lot of goodwill up front when people come to me and want to work with me as well.
Right.
And so I get breaks from that as well. And I try and make sure that they get in-kind value for what they're giving to me.
Yep.
But in a lot of cases, they're not interested in that because they feel like they've already received whatever's fair.
Right.
That's a good point. That's true.
Interesting.
You're putting out a lot of free content that people are consuming.
So anyway, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, that's really good information. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this episode again once we're done here because there's a lot of things we need to pull out of that.
Yeah.
Derick, if you do go the mailing list route too, just throw a hurdle in there, make them do something.
Right.
So
That's true. Yeah.
flooded.
Right. Yeah, because we've talked about that before. Give them just a tiny little thing to do to get the people that are serious. Well, that came from the 80/20 book, didn't it?
Yeah, rack to shotgun. Yep.
Yeah. Figure out some tiny little task to figure out who is really serious about this or not.
And you have to do it right and follow the instructions.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can even not necessarily say, "Hey, I'm looking for people to help me out. Can you do this for me?" But you can also, turn it into kind of a, I'm kind of curious about the outcome of people doing X, Y, and Z, and then just see who does it. Yeah. And then you can kind of gauge who takes the initiative. I mean, there are so many things that you can measure people by, but the people who are most highly engaged are going to be the people that you probably want to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other thing works too. I mean, then you're getting the people who are actually know they're interested in working with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever means the most to you, whatever's most important.
Yeah. Yeah, that leverage can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I'm going to be working on after that is, so I love podcasting.
Right.
As people may know, right?
Clearly. It's a horrible thing to do, man. I hate it.
I know. I suck up hours of people's week every week.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've not been completely happy with the services that are out there for podcasters. I have to say that Signal Leaf itself is a breath of fresh air after having used Libsyn for years.
Thank you.
But FeedBurner is the other thing out there that people use, and FeedBurner, I think Google just doesn't dare shut it down.
Right.
But they haven't really touched it in years. So I've been working on a tool to replace FeedBurner.
Nice.
And I've talked to Derick a couple of times about it. And so I'm starting to formulate my marketing plan for that.
Right.
And, start getting people engaged and having the discussion. In the meantime, I also need it for devchat.tv.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the sponsorships, just fleshing it out and making it systematic, that's the big hole in my infrastructure. And so I'm going to build it anyway. The thing is I started talking to people and talking to them about replacing FeedBurner. It gets some people sort of academically interested. Another tool I could use. But when I start talking to them about the problems they have, and they start saying things like, how do I get sponsorships?
Mm-hmm.
We might have had that discussion here. Or how do I make money with my podcasts or things like that? It seems like providing people with that platform that allows them to control and measure the engagement they get from their show is the thing they really need. Mm-hmm. And then explicitly handing out here's a sponsorship report. Here's a report that we can send to your sponsor for you if you want. Mm-hmm. Or we'll host a page that you can give people the link to, or give them different options for that. And then just make the system as flexible and easy to use as possible so that they don't have the same issues that people tend to have with FeedBurner.
Right. So something like Baremetrics for podcasts, for your podcast traffic, where you get like insights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what Baremetrics is, but
they look at your Stripe account basically and compute like a lot of your
there you go.
business, critical, kind of KPI type of
monthly recurring value, lifetime value of customers, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same kind of thing. So that's the idea.
FeedBlitz. Have you seen FeedBlitz? I hate
FeedBlitz. I use FeedBlitz and I hate it.
I have
sponsor right there.
Actually, let me rephrase that. I have tried to use FeedBlitz.
Yeah.
That's not very usable. It's true.
Every time I log into their website, I'm inundated with this. Do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? And every time I say no and I say stop bothering me, and it just pops up again.
The issue I have with FeedBlitz is that they do the freemium model, but the way that they do it is they're constantly trying to funnel you to the paid stuff. And it's not hey, this would help you. It's hey, you ought to pay for this.
Right. Go pay for this. Go pay for this. Go pay for this.
And so
people keep signing up for my email on there, and then it moved me up to the higher paid tier when I don't want people signing up for email. I want them subscribing.
I told Feedblitz, do not let people sign up for the email. I have people that email me and say, hey, I tried to subscribe via email, and Feedblitz said that I can't. And I'm like, nope, sign up for my mailing list.
It's a feature that I would like to build into FeedWrench, but I don't want to play all the stupid games.
Yeah.
So what I'll probably try and do is set the pricing such that you can have as many email subscribers as you want, and you still just pay the flat fee. Because, it's a story that I just don't think, many people are going to say. So on the free tier you just don't get it, but on the paid tier you do. And so.
And for me, honestly, that's not a feature that I would pay for.
Yeah.
I'm using GetDrip.com, and they just a couple of days ago released their RSS to email feature.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to be using that.
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
New blog post. It's my podcast episode, and here my email marketing system is sending that to you.
But for me, it's mostly an on-the-side feature because the main feature is engagement.
Yeah.
Measuring engagement. Providing that value back to the podcaster.
Right.
Blogger. I haven't talked to many bloggers just because I don't want to clutter my mind and my approach with that, so I can just focus on podcasters.
Yeah, that's a really good approach, I think, because there's a lot of very specific things you can do for podcasters that bloggers wouldn't care about, and having that niche would let you focus.
I think some of that is ultimately the problem with FeedBurner for podcasters anyway. So I
read an excellent.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to mention that I'm in Sweden, so that's why we got the lag, I think. I read an excellent book called 0 to 1, and in that he talked about the strategy how Amazon basically they picked a very small market to dominate first, and then expanded out. So they were books first, and then they were music that was slightly related, and then it was media like video games. And that was slightly related, and now they sell everything. But I think that's the right approach, what you're taking, which is to say, let me just solve this RSS problem for podcasters specifically first. And then once you can dominate that market so easily because there's nothing specifically for podcaster that is focused, and then you can expand out. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
That's my thinking too. So if it stinks, then somebody please tell me.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you to make it open so that I can start using it.
Yeah, I have a few kinks to work out, but all of the feeds for devchat.tv are currently hosted off of it. So
nice. Because I've got a blog post on Signal Leaf from a couple months ago. The one thing you need to know about your RSS feed is the title of the post, and that one thing is you need to know that it works. You need to know that if you change your podcast host or if you change your URL, if you change whatever, that people are not going to lose their subscription to your podcast. And having a third-party service, FeedBlitz, FeedBurner, FeedWrench now is my recommended way of ensuring stability in your RSS feed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because you can go in on the back end and say, okay, now I want you to copy this other feed.
Yep. And I did that with I moved 2,000 blog subscribers from my Los Techies blog over to my DerickBailey.com blog by doing that. I had FeedBurner. I was using FeedBurner on Los Techies, and so I went into I went in and set up my DerickBailey.com RSS feed. Signed up for FeedBlitz, which I kind of regret doing now, but I'm still using them. Went over to FeedBurner and told FeedBurner that I was deleting my feed from there, and gave them a permanent redirect over to my FeedBlitz account. So now anybody that was subscribing through FeedBurner, which was everyone that had subscribed to me previously, they got redirected automatically over to FeedBlitz. And I got to change my URL without anybody caring because people were still receiving my RSS.
Yeah, I have to say, moving off of FeedBurner is a little harrowing right there when you're getting ready to do it, because it's delete this feed. Are you sure? And you're just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yes. I know. I think I'm still like with one foot in the water. I think I still have a feed blitz, a feed burner as well as a feed blitz. I think the guy was like, I can't make commitments.
Yeah.
I do, in fact. It doesn't have very many left on there, but.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a little bit of nuance to it too, but.
Right.
So, honestly, I feel like if I get it done in time, then I'll be poised for when Google finally gives up on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So you've got a lot of things in the works. So you're.
I thought I had a ton of stuff on my plate.
Yeah, I think the trick really is just deciding what that most important thing is.
Right.
And so it's
having subcontractors.
Yes, and having people. So I don't have to focus on the sponsorship stuff or the JS remote stuff right at the moment. So my focus is Rails clips.
Right.
And then I just have to kind of stay abreast of everything else. And FeedWrench is on the back burner right now for a few weeks, just because I don't have time to work on it and I don't have anyone else to work on it.
Right.
So, and I don't have resources to go and pay somebody else to work on it.
Right.
So, it's that kind of thing, and so then it's like, okay, so what is the priority, and then making that work. And so, and I am playing a little bit of a game where I'm gonna get the HTML for JS Remote Conf done probably today or tomorrow, and I'm gonna have to pay that back next week or the week after, because the person doing it is gonna want my coaching, which is fair. But then I can meet my timelines and make sure that everything works out the way I need to.
Right.
And I'm also coming to the conclusion that I could do the sponsorship work on devchat.tv. I could do the conversion from PSD to HTML. I'm good at both of those things. But finding the things that are really important for me to outsource has been more and more of a priority, which is why I'm not even going to edit the Rails clips videos. I'm going to let somebody else do it.
Right.
And
that's one thing that I do is with Watch Me Code, send all my stuff to an editor. This kind of goes along with the $1,000 an hour work that we talk about a lot, which is the idea that if you can get paid $100 an hour to do something or $1,000 an hour to do something, which one should you do? And well, the $100 an hour work still needs to be done, but it's more valuable for you to go do the $1,000 an hour work and then pay somebody else $150 an hour to do the $100 an hour work.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only reason that I'm actually recording the Rails clip stuff myself is because I want to build that personal brand.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like you're a step ahead of us, and the step that we need to take, especially myself and Derick, is turning it more into a company than a single person business, which I'd say that you're like in that transition, because you've got kind of temporary workforce now, but I could easily see as some of these things start taking off, then you're hiring permanent employees that, like, because you already have the contacts, you already have once the income, and then, but I guess I'm realizing now that the limitations that both Derick and I are facing currently with growing beyond have totally to do with us not taking that step of hiring out and
right.
Yeah, it does take a leap, though. I mean, I want it done a certain way, and so by letting somebody else do it, that's hard. And then
you get that by doing the coaching aspect of it.
Yeah, and you just have to work through it. I mean, the guy that I have editing my videos, I just hired him.
Right.
So I sent him my first video, and that's why I haven't sent him any of the others, and they're not quite ready to go yet.
Right.
It's because he sent it back, and I said, look, we got to fix this, we got to change this. How can I communicate to you when I need this done? And so he actually came back to me and said, okay, well, I'll fix it, and I won't bill you for it. And I said, no, that's part of the process. This is me learning to communicate with you, and you learning to communicate with me. It's valuable, and let me pay you for it. And the thing is that once you get past that, then you're to that point, the other thing that I had to get over was just the fact that I was like, I don't want to spend the money on something that I could do myself.
Yeah.
John.
Seriously.
John.
And
that was really hard for me to get over with Watch Me Code as well. I mean, the very first time I sent an episode to my editor, I was just pulling my hair out, stressed about it, and he did a pretty good job. And I, sent him feedback, and he improved it. And we went around in circles a few times, and he finally got it the way that I wanted. And now, I mean, I literally, I hit stop on the recording. I drop it in Dropbox, and a week later, I go publish the final episode that he put in Dropbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like every now and then I do a spot check review on them, and there's been like 1 or 2 mistakes in 9 months that I found that I wanted to correct, and they weren't necessarily mistakes; they were just differences of opinion because it was something different than we had done before. So it was, like this is awesome. I give somebody raw material, and I have 90% of the work done for me, and I just got to go write a blog post about it. And I want to pay somebody else to do the blog post now.
Yeah. The thing that really convinced me was that I saw all of the things that I felt like I needed to get done, and I realized there was no way I could do them all.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, well, then I have to pay somebody else to do it. I mean, if it cost me a little bit more effort in the short term to make it work in the long term, I mean, I have to get there because I can't do everything I want to do for all the people I want to do them for.
Yep.
Unless I free up more time. And so, one book that really helped me kind of get there was Virtual Freedom by Chris Ducker.
Virtual Freedom.
That's the second time I've recommended that book in 24 hours. So.
Yeah, I've been listening to the audiobook.
Yeah.
And I actually bought it when he was first releasing it, so I got all of the bonus stuff that he sent out with it.
Oh, okay.
I don't see it on Amazon. Ritual Freedom?
Virtual Freedom.
Oh, Virtual Freedom.
Yeah. Ritual Freedom, different book. I'll help you get out of it. Are you in a cult, Derick? Do you need...
Yeah,
you were in Waco, right?
Yeah, there's this church that I go to. It's really great. You guys should come down. Just outside of Waco.
But yeah,
Virtual Freedom. I am totally buying that right now.
Yeah, where's my book list?
He's also got a terrific podcast. It's the New Business Podcast, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear him on Pat Flynn all the time.
Yeah, the name does sound familiar. And bot.
But he's got a lot of great tips for hiring people too, and how to work through some of this. Because you are going to go back and forth. I'm really good at communicating stuff in a way that I understand, but I'm not always really good at communicating stuff in a way other people understand.
Yes.
Dare I admit that?
That is the human condition right there.
That is.
So.
Yeah. I always try to remember have someone repeat back what.
Right.
Tell me what I just told you.
Yeah, it's kind of like all of the stuff that I experience happens to me.
Right.
So I know all about that, but all the stuff that happens to you doesn't happen to me. So
yeah,
a little bit of empathy.
Yes. A little bit of empathy goes a long way.
Yeah. So what are you guys working on? And is there anything that I can offer any kind of thought on, or?
So you've given me a crap load of things to think about and do already. So thank you very much for that, because we've been talking about getting virtual assistants for a while and subcontractors and whatnot. And John and I have both recognized the need for doing that. So this is, further fuel to that fire for me to get it done, because I know I need to. It's just a question of getting over myself and my own comfort levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just do it. It's also nice to have a general person that you can just throw stuff at.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up talking with Mandy at DevReps about a lot of the things that I want to do.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to just suck it up and pay or go through my audience and find some, either pay someone if I need something totally reliable, or go through the thing of managing a few people if I need to, if I don't want to pay but I still need to get the leverage. So
Yeah, I have found that people in China or Philippines, I mean, they'll work hard for you. So, you know, you know, just find somebody that you can communicate well with.
I hire people out. Like I hire people off of Odesk all the time for small tasks, but I've never like kept someone going. So I need to like make the commitment to be like, okay, this person I'm going to keep them on and keep them busy.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is yeah, you just have to find somebody that you can work well with, that you can communicate well with.
Yeah.
You know, and if it takes them an extra hour and they cost, 1/10 of what somebody else costs, then you're still ahead.
Yep.
The work gets done, you're in good shape. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
With Mandy, it is really nice to have somebody that just understands where I'm at, and I can just say, hey, take care of this, and it just happens, and it happens the way I want. And,
right.
I mean, there are definitely trade-offs, but I think you can find a system that works for you one way or the other. And if it doesn't, then try the other way.
Right.
And some of these things have a long tail, I'm imagining, right? Because it's like, I guess the fiction I'd always told myself was, well, once I start making enough money off of this thing, then I can afford from it to hire someone. But I'm starting to realize that you probably didn't take that approach, because you probably aren't. I mean, you have all these projects that you're not making money off of yet, and you're outlaying the money to have them built and to pay people to work on them, and then that is going to like it's like what I'm waiting for is not going to happen, because I'm never going to get the time to actually make money.
Right.
If I do that, it's like I just got to take the gamble sort of and invest in the company like you're doing, because it sounds like you probably are investing a lot of the money you're making right now, unless I'm wrong. But
yes, I am. The trick is that, I mean, so I want to back up for a minute, because I'm sure somebody's listening and going, well, I really just don't have any money.
Yeah, me. Right here, that's me.
If you really don't have any money, then you either have to find something else of value to trade, and we talked about that, or you just can't. I mean, there is the realistic situation that somebody's in where they just can't afford to hire somebody.
Right.
But the other situation is that, I mean, if it's a limiting factor and you've got some validation on the idea, then you can move ahead with it. So, for example, with JS Remote Conf, I think there's still some risk involved, but for the most part, I've talked to a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I've gotten a lot of great ideas from people. The users group idea was one. Jessica Kerr on Ruby Rogues said, well, what about users groups? You should offer it to users groups. And I was like, yes, I should. And so, lots of interested people. The more I talk to people about it, the more I start getting asked, so is the site up yet? So are you doing it yet? And so all of that, I feel better about putting the money toward it.
Yeah.
The sponsorship stuff. I know I have sponsors. I know it'll pay for itself. So, sinking the money in there, just works. The Rails clip stuff.
Did we lose him? Hello?
Avdi Grimm had and was making pretty good money at it. So I see that the potential's there, and I have the outreach to that demographic of programmers who do Ruby and Rails, and so I see that there's not a lot of risk there. So I'm not advocating that, I've got this brilliant idea, I'm going to go sink a whole bunch of money into it. What I'm advocating is I've got this idea, I'm going to go talk to some people about it, I may sink a few $100s into it, see if it really has some merit, and then if it looks like it's going to work out, then start, okay, what are my roadblocks here, and how can I make them go away? And in a lot of cases, you can pay somebody to make them go away.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Right.
I've been talking a lot, guys. Sorry.
That's all right.
I've been trying to give you as much time because you're on the show as a guest. So.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, what else can I help you guys with? I know if you guys have a question, somebody else can have a question.
Yeah. Yeah. My brain's done at this point. I
need to pick Josh's brain about email marketing.
Do it. Ask away.
But
yeah. Do you have any specific questions, or just sometime?
Just sometime, just work through it. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd love to do a Skype chat with you or whatever.
Yeah, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to sit down and show you what I'm doing, and then you can tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Okay. Well, you have an email list, right? So that's. It sounds like it. So yeah. So that's where most people go wrong. That's like the first failure point. It took me a while to convince John and Derick that they needed it. So.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
All you have to do is talk to somebody who is using their email list to make, sales, or they're wielding it as the tool that it is to add value to people and get value back in the form of cash. And then
see, I haven't figured out that second part yet. I give a tremendous amount of value on my mailing list, but I get so little out of it.
Well, that's not exactly true. You haven't gotten a lot of ongoing sales, right? For Watch Me Code, but you did get a pretty nice pop when you launched that sucker.
That's true. That's true. I did.
Yeah, you got that's what it's really where you monetize it is at the smaller event. Like it's like putting goodwill in the bank.
But how often do I have a launch of anything like that? That's the problem that I seem to be running into lately. Is I'm just continuing to do what I've been doing. I don't have anything big to talk about. I don't have anything new to launch. I don't have. So it's just moving things along and not really. There's no even little wins. It's just progress.
Well, you can launch other people's stuff too. Like, I mean, I just did, Craig McKeeche's, the JavaScript book, and I sent out 2 emails, and I did about close to $700 in money in sales to me. So, so that was well worth it. I mean, for 2 emails, right? Like, that's so. I think there's that definitely that potential. I mean, you can't do that every single.
Right.
Well, you could do it every single month. I know a lot of people that do it, but I don't know. At least every few months you can do something like that.
Yeah. Derick, one thing.
Like a can pay product if you want, and you'll make commission on my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derick had a lot of luck with that.
He did. He made a lot off of it, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, one option would be so you're in a difficult spot because you're selling a subscription, and there's no urgency, right?
Right.
Like, there's literally no reason for anybody to buy your thing today versus tomorrow. So
actually, if they wait till tomorrow, it'll be a better deal because there's a new episode. I mean, that's the constant problem of subscription, right? Like, why should I pay the $15 a month when I can wait 6 months, pay $15, go get everything, and then cancel?
Well, one option would be to have a rolling. I mean, I know of some newsletter. I'm subscribed to a newsletter where you can't get the back issues. You have to pay full price for them. So I mean, like that would be one option. Would be to have like some kind of rolling expiration. So you get the videos as they come out, and you get a certain number of a back catalog.
Right.
But actually, in your case, I think one good way to go would be to have regular launches where you're launching a new series. And you offer some kind of special limited time bonus to add that urgency.
I was totally gonna recommend the same thing.
Yep.
So give me an example, because it sounds good, but I'm not sure how I would do that. Like, give me a totally realistic example of what I could do with my existing content.
Well, so I'm thinking of new content that you're producing.
Okay.
So when you start a new series, you do kind of a big build up to it, and you could even go dark for a little while to kind of build the anticipation ahead of time, and then you do a big push when you come out with, like, I don't know, how long do your series run? Are they like 10 weeks or however long?
Yeah, it just depends. Some of them are only 2 or 3 weeks. Some of them are 6 or 7.
You'd want to package it up. You'd probably want to have it all done ahead of time. And then, so what's the one that you're working on now? Is the
I just finished recording all of the Mongoose.js, MongoDB stuff.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So my next one is going to be Express.js and building on top of what I did in MongoDB and Mongoose.js, and building on top of that and building a website around it.
Right. So you could almost think of it in terms of like a season, like a like a TV show type of thing, where you've got you go dark for a little bit, you work on the content, and then you release you kick off the season with a big promotion. So for the Express.js thing,
right?
And it would be like a full product launch. You'd have multiple emails to your list.
Yeah.
Work with other people. Work with other people in the JavaScript community. Try to get the word out the same way that you would for a regular, like a book launch or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then as far as like I don't know what to say about as far as a bonus, but definitely some kind of like value. I prefer value, like adding value versus offering a discount.
Right.
So, especially if that's not really fair to your existing subscribers if they paid full price. So
yeah.
But yeah, like offering some kind of limited time, whether it's extra video or you team up with somebody else to offer their product. As like
a few other ideas that I've had is, let's say that you are doing Express, so you could offer the complete Express cheat sheet, and so it just gives them an API reference for Express.
Right.
Or you can offer, we're going to do, as part of the launch, you'll get 3 live webinar sessions where, I'll go into more depth on Express, and you can ask whatever questions you have about Express. And I'll handle those, and I'll take care of them and stuff like that. And then you can collect the questions beforehand. You can release them to people. You can put the videos out there. I know that some people who have done that approach, they actually get the person who's already subscribed saying, well, hey, what about me? And then you just kind of, well, you've been a subscriber for a long time, so I'm just I'll cut you in on the deal kind of thing.
Right.
But if people don't sign up by the cutoff date, then they're out of luck.
Right. That's an interesting idea, and that could be even not just value add, but something to upsell a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The live event thing is great though, because it has built-in urgency.
Right.
It's going to happen, and it's going to be over. So.
Yeah, and the other thing is that you can pull marketing materials out of it. You can you may get some clarity on future videos you need to do. I mean, you get a lot of value out of it too. And you get to talk to your
as an episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
You get to talk to your audience and find out what they really care about.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of benefits that you'll get out of that, and that's something that I've seen from like Pickup Podcasting. So I had some people show up and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the best first step that walked me through everything that I needed to do." And I had a few people that were like, "You know what? I'm kind of already there. I just need help with these couple of things," and so. I'm going to keep doing the introduction to podcasting, but then I'm also going to throw in an extra webinar every month that's, hey, here's how you get your transcripts done. Here's how you get your artwork done, and things like that. But, you get that feedback, and you get a whole bunch of goodwill and all kinds of things like that. But I like the idea of having these events periodically that you can, you can drive people toward, because, most people that I know that really profit from their mailing list, they have some bonus, some launch, some extra thing that they're doing. I think Josh is spot on with that.
Right. Interesting.
One other thing I want to ask you is, have you thought about if you break Watch Me Code? I haven't watched it for a while. I've just been slammed. But if you break Watch Me Code up into series, have you thought about just selling each series as a product?
Yeah, I've actually had it in the back of my mind that once the Mongoose.js series is completely released on the website, that I do want to put up for people that are not subscribers, pay X dollars and download this whole series on its own without having to subscribe.
You know what's interesting about that? I was just about to say, well, then someone will just pay $5 or for 1 month and they'll get it all. But guess what? So So they just so you just okay, so you put the packages out there, right? Someone can buy it, it's fine. But if someone thinks, oh, wait a minute, instead of buying this for $79, why don't I just sign up for a monthly subscription and then I can just watch all the videos?
Yep.
Well, they just signed up for a monthly subscription.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a totally legit. Don't even worry about plugging the back door.
That's an interesting idea. I should do that.
The other thing
it actually price anchors your subscription.
Right, it does. It does.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've heard you kind of say that you sound worried about anyway is, somebody signs up for a month, pays the $15, downloads all the content, and then leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And I generally believe that there are some people out there. I also firmly believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
Those people will all get hit by a bus.
So, somewhere down the line, they're only going to get out of it what they paid for it.
Right.
But the other thing is that most people, if they're getting ongoing value, they're going to stay subscribed. Right. And so I don't think it's worth worrying about those other people anyway. Unless you just see a whole rash of it, but I doubt you will.
Yeah, and I haven't. I mean, I have I'm just about leveled off in my subscribers, new subscribers and lost subscribers right now. I'm hovering right around 330.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the number of people that subscribe every month, I'm getting around the same number of people dropping their subscription. So I'm not seeing people signing up and then going away.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if you do a big launch, I wouldn't be shocked if you're able to get a few hundred more people.
Right.
Especially if you're saying you have a list of 4,000 folks.
Yep.
Yeah. And give those people something to talk about.
Right.
So if of those 4,000 people on your list, the most active people are people who are already subscribed, give them something to talk to their friends about.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like, but the big launch, the big event, things like that, I think are some of that.
I like the idea. So I'm definitely going to do a package deal for the Mongoose.js series, and then I will likely do a live webinar with it as well. I think it'd be good to do Q&A on Mongoose.js stuff, questions and answers, because I know a lot of people have questions about it.
I found that Q&A webinars don't get as much attendance as
Really?
the we're going to talk about this webinars.
Okay.
So you probably want to put in there, we're going to talk about, if it takes you an hour or 2 hours or something to front to back build something, with Node and Mongoose, then, just say, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. Or we're going to build an analytics engine over Mongo. I don't know.
Right.
However you're doing that, and then, and these are some of the techniques that we're going to show, and these are some of the other things that you're going to get from it, and then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. And so then the people who want to sit down with you for that last half hour, ask you questions can, but a lot of people who have the particular problem, they're going to self-identify and opt in.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Boom. Value.
Boom!
So
Chuck has opinions on everything. I wish that guy would just shut up.
No, Chuck has really good ideas on everything. I wish he would talk more.
I'll throw in some commentary. I've got so I'm at Oredev, and I finished all my talks, so that's good. Those all went well. So it definitely was an interesting experience. I gained a lot of value. I didn't realize how valuable it was to come to like a conference like this, but I have connected with no less than like 50 people, and made just a huge amount of connections. And then the really good thing is that these videos from all my sessions were recorded and they're online. So to utilize that, get a huge amount of value from those. So Oh, Derick just missed everything I said.
Yeah, it was only the important bits.
Yeah, only like literally everything. As soon as you started talking, my whole screen froze up.
Yeah, and I caught the I'm at Oredev, and then I'm going to take advantage.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll try again. So I did my sessions. I had three talks I did at Oredev, and they all went really well. And I made a huge number of connections, probably no less than 50 people that I connected with. So really huge, huge. I didn't realize how beneficial this would be. And plus, all the sessions are going to be online on video, so I'll be able to utilize those. So
nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just caught the beginning of one of your sessions, and we're doing a really good job. It was really polished. It was one of the better presentations I think I've seen. So kudos.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The slides, those slides were kind of shaky. No, I'm just
Yeah.
That's an inside.
I have an idea.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I have an idea how to do some better slides. Now that I've gone through the whole crisis, I was having this crisis of trying to hire people to do slides and stuff, but the slides didn't even really matter. It was it was the talks, obviously, the engagement with the audience and
that's
stuff.
The way it should.
One thing One thing I really did, I knew that I had a tough audience in Sweden because they don't usually give feedback and whatnot. So when I did my how to market yourself talk, I asked a lot of questions to the audience. I had them answering questions, and then by the end of the thing, actually the organizer of the conference came up to me. He's like, "I've never seen Swedish people interact."
Wow.
So I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." He's like, "Yeah, we definitely want to have you back next year." So
I think
I already got invited back.
Our one Swedish listeners.
Well, it's not that they don't have the opinion, right? It's that they're more reserved, I think, in general in a professional setting. So, because at other conferences, you talk and then you kind of get swarmed, but not so much here. But yeah, it's real good, real interesting, good experience. So
awesome. Well, for me, my email 1K thing dropped this week.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and so I was so it ended up being really interesting. So I worked with a guy named Tyler. He's a copywriter that Noah just hired recently. He actually did the same copywriting program that I went through, which is the handwriting one, John, that you and I were working on together. Where you handwrite out the sales letters, and so he's super nice. And so I blew through a draft of that last Saturday. I was really down to the wire because I had assignments for my mentor up until through the end of the day Friday. I took PTO on Friday so that I could get everything done.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday I blew through a draft of that, and then I had more emails to do for my mentor. So then we went back and forth. We actually went through 3 rounds of revisions on that thing, and it ended up being about 1,500 words, I think. And it was way better for having gone through the multiple drafts that he put me through. So but they let me put my affiliate
I saw.
stuff. I called it out specifically. I said, look, you don't have to do this, but here it is. I'm going to put it in there. Take it out if you don't want it. And they left it in.
Nice.
So that's going to be a nice little funnel for me. So every, they're launching the class again in 5 days. So it's a 30-day class, and every so often they're going to open it up again and run more people through it. I think Noah said he wants to.
Really?
I think Noah said he wants to put 100,000 people through it. That's his goal.
Wow.
So and so I got 100, and I've gotten more than 100 new signups on my mailing list out of that, and I made at least $1,500.
Wow.
In sales of the plugin. So
nice.
Yeah,
you've been getting close to 50% conversion, right?
Yeah, so it's a little bit lower now. It's around 40%. So
wow.
Yeah, but I'm going to. So what I'm going to do is actually build a whole funnel around this. I added a second email. So I'm taking Derick's approach where I leave everybody in the list in drip, and so I'm just going to add autoresponders to the end of it. So I'm going to interview Craig Mikichi about his giveaway, add that to the end, and I'm going to put my my promo code and link in every one. So there will be value in each email, but it's going to just keep I'm going to keep pestering people about it. So unfortunately, I don't have a way to take them out if they buy it. So I want to make sure.
You do.
Well, no, I can't because I can't track conversions with King Sumo. Like I can't track the conversions because it's a affiliate product.
That's right.
Yeah, it would be easy if it was just me, but yeah.
So what you need to do then is get the King Sumo guys to do a redirect over to your thank you page after they buy through your discount code.
That's a good idea.
And then if you can do that, then you can tell Grip to take them out of the sequence.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Or at the very least, a webhook. Like,
right.
If you won't do the thing page, a simple webhook, which they probably already have, would work.
Yep, and Drip supports webhooks as well. So. Okay,
that's a good idea. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna build that sequence out, and I've actually decided like it was interesting. I read a post today by Cal Newport about how he doesn't try to track projects. And I've fallen into this too, where like I have all these great ideas and I want to keep track of them all and review them regularly. He says, screw that. If it's a project that you should be working on, it will come back and keep smacking you in the face over and over. You won't be able to do it. And that's exactly what's happened with this giveaway stuff. Like I did my contest and it was great, so, and then I kind of was like, okay, and I just kind of moved on. And then I got the thing about, oh, do this email 1K and do this interview and do that. It just keeps coming at me. So I'm just going to embrace it. I'm totally embracing it. I'm going to run with this giveaways thing, and I'm going to do some experiment. I want to try a giveaway where I only use paid traffic. So like just buy Twitter ads and see. So like I can simulate. Okay, I have no mailing list at all, but I have $500 to spend on ads. Like what can I get for that? So I'm going to run an experiment like that. I'm going to reach out to some people. I'm going to try to run some giveaways with some big bloggers. Try to convince them to do a giveaway with me. Like as if I didn't have any kind of platform. So I'm just going to run with it.
Man, if you weren't so busy, I would pay you $500 to run my giveaway.
Yes.
So I'm going to do. I'm also going to do a paid funnel into this. So I want to do. I want to put together. I'm going to take my blog post, chop it up into a 5-part sequence, and then advertise that on Twitter as like a lead gen type of thing. Get people into my mailing list, and then I can I can sell them on this plugin. Even if I break even or lose money, there's so many other things I can sell to people who are interested in email marketing. So just kind of So I'm gonna run with it. I'm the giveaways guy. like that's what I'm listed as that on the I'm listed as that on the email 1K homepage. So I'm just gonna run with it.
That's awesome. I didn't even think of it that way, but you are. There's no one else that I know of in the circles of internet marketing that is known as the giveaway guy. So that's
and really, Noah really could have. He is kind of that. I mean, they kind of originated this, but I'm gonna just run with it, and So that'll be my thing for a while, and it should let me get a nice platform. It's nice and focused. It gives me something I can spend 6 months running experiments and blogging about experiments about this.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. And I've made just so in the last month I've made about $4,300 of affiliate stuff off of this already.
Nice.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
Yep. And so now with the email 1K funnel, that's like an evergreen funnel. Like they're going to be constantly dumping new people into that, and they're going to charge for that, and they're going to pay to advertise it. So, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say it's funny. I was talking to the guy after I did my How to Market Yourself, and he's a listener of Pat Flynn's podcast, and I was telling him about the EntreProgrammers, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was like, you probably even read this, right? Like, did you remember Pat Flynn's blog post about about the that really long one about the giveaway, about the adding like 100,000 people to your mailing list. It's like that was Josh Earl. So it's kind of funny. Like you're really building a huge thing from this, which is awesome.
And Brian Harris, the guy we talked about last week with the video fruit guy, he actually reached out to me this week. I had a note to myself to contact him, but he reached out to me, so nice. I'm going to do an interview for his mailing list. So
nice.
So it's really opened a lot of doors.
Yeah. So what's next? I'm really curious. You've got all this cool stuff going on.
For me?
Next big thing, yeah.
I mean, for me, like I'm not planning to do for a while. I'm not planning to do any more product type stuff. I'm going to mainly work to build an email list and build an affiliate marketing funnel. That's really because I just don't I have 15 hours a week. That's what I've tracked myself as being able to do consistently. I have a family. We have 2 kids. And I can do 15 hours a week on top of my full-time job. So I have to figure out what's the most efficient use of that time. And product creation is not it for me right now. Affiliate marketing has been the highest payoff for anything that I've done. So I'm putting all of my effort into learning copywriting. That's really what I want to do going forward. Is I want to do email marketing and copywriting, and devoting a lot of time developing that skill set. And then as far as the building income, really the affiliate stuff is the easiest thing for me to do right now.
Yeah.
I'd pay good money to watch you figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
They pay good money to
code, and now it's watch me market.
Well, I will be figuring it out, so
awesome.
Stay tuned.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's been the biggest. I'm trying to think. We also Wes and I are also doing the newsletter, the Sublime newsletter, and so we did we've done two issues so far. It's worked out really well. Have some technical issues to work out with the image sizes. I didn't resize he's been using images in the emails, which I never did. And the last email had one that was it took up half my screen. I was like, holy cow, when I saw it.
Oops.
That's working out well so far. The first email that went out, we ended up selling about $1,200 worth of his book. So, and that was just the very first time we mentioned it, and that was I hadn't emailed those people in more than 2 months. So,
wow.
So I think this will work out, and I think we're going to both do well, working on this together, and we're going to do a big Cyber Monday push for his new book. So, yeah, hoping to make a nice little windfall out of that.
Yeah.
So that's another affiliate deal. Basically, I've converted my Sublime, for the most part, I've converted my Sublime stuff into an affiliate arrangement. So I don't have to maintain the product.
Man, with a mailing list of, what is it, 80,000 now?
82.
82,000. Jeez.
Yep. And I'm getting good open rates. I mean, my open rates are 45% on the last email. So,
That's insane.
Yeah.
You get more opens than 5 times my mailing list.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Jeez.
Speaking of books, I sent you guys on the EntreProgrammers list, but the meep for my soft skills is #1 again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On the meep list. At first, when that list came out, I was like, well, whatever book comes out, when a new meep comes out, then the top one of those is #1, and then and I was like, but then the next week, whatever new ones come out will be the top one again, but. It's now my has been out for a couple of months on the meep, and it's hit the top 1 several of those times. So I think that's a good sign. If it holds up in print like that, that would mean that it would become a bestseller in the tech books.
Yeah.
That could be huge.
Yeah, you could go to McDonald's twice.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh man, no. John would totally splurge and take his wife to Wendy's.
Yes,
Oh, there you
That's
go.
right. Yeah.
big time spender here.
Yeah, a whole date. There you go.
Maybe even buy his kid a Frosty.
Well, I don't have any pipe dreams, but I did an interview with Bob Martin, who's sold some pretty high selling tech books, and he did tell me that. I was asking him, and he's like, yeah, most of the time you don't make money off of books, but he's like, but like clean code and like and he told me like a couple of other his books. He was like that he made over $100,000 a year in royalties at a 10% royalty rate on some of those books. So like it's a very much of that 80-20 curve. Like you can be really high on that. Like if you do a cross-discipline multi-discipline best-selling book, you can actually do okay on the royalties. Right. It's a rare thing, and I just talked to another guy that wrote one of the first iOS books. He said that it did generate over $100,000 in royalties. So
nice.
Now, are you doing things to market that, or does Manning do some promotion for you as well?
It's a combination of the two. Right now, my marketing's a little bit light on it. But Manning is. They're kind of they set up some things with Java.net and interviews and stuff, so they're kind of giving me some opportunities. But before it goes to print, I am going to do the total, what's his name, that Derrick's, Tim.
Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally going to do the full Tim Ferriss launch of getting a big list of people that are going to rate it on Amazon the day it comes out, and doing sequence and just try to make it as huge as possible. Oh yeah, I guess we need to wrap up. So, but yeah, that's my plan to really do it as much as I can. So
nice. Yeah. All right, guys, we should wrap up here. We're well over the usual time.
I'm still having fun.
I know. I don't want to stop, but Josh has a day job. Jeez.
Oh.
Have to go back.
Oh yeah, it's nighttime for me here. I didn't even realize.
John needs to go to bed. Josh has a day job.
John's gonna have nightmares of a large mouth devouring him.
Yeah, seriously, that is creepy.
All right, guys.
All right. Hey,
yeah,
thanks,
we'll
Chuck.
have to talk to you
Thanks, Chuck. It's really awesome having you on.
It was a lot of fun, guys.
For me to do here. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you guys next week.
See you guys.
See ya.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.
Hey, this is Derick from EntreProgrammers. Do us a quick favor and head over to iTunes and give us a quick review on what you think of the show. Let us know if we're doing good, if we're doing bad, or generally what you think. And if you're lucky, we'll even read your review on the air on one of our episodes. Thanks.